So what do you do when people talk about you, repeatedly saying that you are too small, wimpy, useless, and everything that you do is undermined by those who think that they are superior to you? You are never right, always wrong, and you will never be respected. Over time, it wears you down, affects your psyche, your self-worth. You may need some therapy to deal with it. Hello, my friends. It's the Range Ronin, and this therapy session is about to begin. So stick with me. It's time to dispel the notion that the 380 ACP is an ineffective defensive cartridge, and realize that the 380 ACP, when chambered in an excellent pistol, is a most effective defensive cartridge, in more ways than one. One such excellent pistol is the Smith & Wesson M&P Shield EZ M2.0, and I just happen to be handling one, a range rental. Stay tuned, because I'm going to tell you all about it. Before I get into the features, first let me say that while I enjoy presenting brand new out-of-the-box firearms, just sometimes, they are not the best to present. I think that way in the back of the mind of gun folks lurks a question. Yeah, it's nice, but what is it going to be like down the road a bit? While I can't speak directly to the longevity of a firearm, as that must take in many factors, range rental firearms are a good indicator of how a firearm is going to perform after many, many rounds are fired through them. The presented firearm is one of those, a range rental, with an unknown firing history. It has been shot well and put up wet, as many range firearms are. So, let me speak to the 380 ACP cartridge for a short bit, and then I'll dig into the features of the Smith & Wesson M&P Shield EZ380 M2.0. Designed in 1908 by John Moses Browning, the 380 automatic Colt pistol cartridge was considered to be a moderately powerful service pistol round before World War I, and a few nations retained it as a military service cartridge very long after the war. It was, however, eventually replaced by the more powerful 9x19mm Parabellum after the NATO standardization in the 1960s. It was widely used by police forces in Europe when, again, 9x19mm handguns began to replace it. While not as powerful as the 9mm, the 380 ACP is not that far behind with cartridges like the Hornady XTP 90 grain, providing 1,000 feet per second, and Underwood Extreme Penetrator 90 grain, providing 1,100 feet per second at the muzzle, making the 380 round suitable for self-defense situations. Usually chambered in small compact and subcompact pistols, the 380 ACP has a following, as do the pistols that chamber it. For example, the Walther PPKS, Beretta 85 and 80 series, Glock G42, Ruger LCP Max and Security 380, 6-hour P320 and 365, Beretta 85BB and 80 series, Versa Thunder 380, and Smith & Wesson Bodyguard. The 380 ACP cartridge is well suited to firearms with fixed barrels, or blowback operated, due to its low recoiling characteristics. There are some firearms chambered for the 380 ACP that are of the tilting barrel design, like the Glock G42, and the pistol that is the subject for this review, the Smith & Wesson 11663 M&P Shield EZ M2.0. The Smith & Wesson 11663 M&P Shield EZ M2.0 is, of course, the bigger brother to the Smith & Wesson Bodyguard, of which I also have a review. Size-wise, it is comparable to the Ruger Security 380. While showing some similarity with the Ruger Security 380, Smith & Wesson M&P Shield EZ M2.0 needs to stand on its own merits. Note that this is not a comparison video. It is a standalone journal entry of my journey with one Smith & Wesson M&P Shield EZ M2.0. And not all versions of this pistol are the same. I'll jump into that later. Let me get into my main talking points. On the slide, the finish is Armornite, which is a durable corrosion-resistant finish. The muzzle end of the slide is nicely shaped and contoured with only partial serrations available. These seem, to me, to be for aesthetic reasons than anything else. The slide is nicely sculptured from front to rear, resulting in a pleasing look, if that is something that matters. The otherwise smooth flow of the frame is interrupted by a 3-point accessory rail for mounting laser, light, or combination thereof. Just above the frame rail, you will find the serial number. The main feature of the M&P Shield EZ M2.0 and 380 is the ease of racking the slide, whether it be to totally cycle the slide or just release it for chambering. This makes it ideal for those with compromised hand strength, and even for those who do not have compromised hand strength. Cocking supports are at the rear of the slide that add additional gripping surfaces for the hand. Just forward of those cocking supports is nicely textured serrations that ensure a positive grip when operating the slide. The trigger pull is crisp and light and exhibits a tactile and audible short trigger reset. Although hammer fired, the pistol has a nice and light double-action pull weight. For a sighting system, there is a windage adjustable white dot front sight and a 2 white dot rear sight. The outside of the chamber contains the caliber marking. It should be noted that, according to Smith & Wesson, this marking negates the use of +P and +P+ rounds. Only standard pressure 380 ACP ammunition should be used. Just to the rear of the chamber is a tactile loaded chamber indicator, or TLCI, as Smith & Wesson calls it, that you can see and feel when there is a round in the chamber. One thing that I do like is the lack of an internal to the trigger safety lever. The second is the lack of a hinged trigger. That is common to Smith & Wesson polymer-based pistols. Safety controls should be familiar to 1911 operators, as a grip safety is provided and must be fully pressed to fire the pistol. The pistol is available with or without an ambidextrous manual thumb safety. For me, however, I do prefer one, but this example does not have one. When equipped, the thumb safety operates in the typical manner, up to safe, down to fire, and pivots from the rear and not from the front. The thumb safety levers have enough width and texture to easily manipulate without effort. As far as other controls, the left side only slide stop lever is small, but has enough material for positive manipulation when locking the slide back or when releasing the slide. Just forward of the slide lock is the left side only takedown catch. According to Smith & Wesson, the grip texture is optimized for size and to reduce recoil. I have no idea what they mean by that. The grip texture is mild and the girth and length should suit most hands. For me, as usual, there is not enough girth and grip for my hand's liking. That's just the nature of the beast, as they say. Grip angle is set at 18 degrees. That, according to Smith & Wesson, is an optimal angle for a natural point of aim. I'll see about that when I take it to the range. A reversible magazine release is provided. I am always confused by this. Why provide a magazine release button that can be swapped to the right side for left-handed shooters and not provide an ambidextrous slide lock? Help me understand this. Included with the pistol are two easy-to-load 8-round magazines that include assist buttons to aid in loading. For this range rental example, I only had one magazine to work with. It should be noted that the pistol is capable of firing with the magazine removed. Since the example under review is a range rental, disassembling the pistol prior to shooting it might be detrimental to its current state, so I am going to forego maintenance. But I did include a link to where you can download the safety and instruction manual, in which you can find things that may satisfy your curiosity regarding safety, maintenance, ammunition, or other aspects that you need in deciding if the M&P Shield EZ380 is a pistol for you. Well, since I am at the range, have the range rental Smith & Wesson M&P Shield EZ380 in my hand, it would only make sense for me to see how the EZ380 and I work together. Don't you think? It should be obvious that the EZ380 is not a target pistol, with an intended use of up-close and personal self-defense. With 50 rounds of Magtech 95 grain FMJ in hand and one magazine to work with, let me see if I can put this pint-sized pistol through its paces, while starting out with the first magazine to get familiar. The grip is just long enough, with the magazine inserted, for me to get all 4 fingers on the gun. It gives great recoil control, even on a small gun like this. The grip angle, which is identical to a 1911, allows for a very natural point of aim. The slim grip, while it would make the pistol a fantastic CCW gun, is just too slim for my hands. The texture is surprisingly good, however, and at first glance there seems to be very little texture, but when gripping it, it feels like a firm grip to hold. The trigger pull is solid. There is a short take-up, a good amount of creep after the wall, a snapping break, no over-travel, and a medium but quiet reset. I like the fact that the overall trigger reach and travel is short. For users with smaller hands or less than a full range of motion, this feature is a good one to have. The trigger is good, considering that the EZ is actually a hammer-fired gun and not a striker-fired one, as it appears to be on the outside. Even though there is no exposed hammer, there is a hammer hitting the firing pin. Recoil-operated pistols are softer shooting, and less recoil is always better for newer or weaker shooters. So I'm glad that they went with this action. Magazine release is easy to reach due to the slim grip, and magazines eject positively. Slide lock is in a good spot. It's easy to engage due to the easy to rack slide. As usual with micro-compact pistols, I had to fight from pulling the pistol left during shooting. The sights are the standard 3-dot irons, and which are adequate, and they work. Chances are, however, that in a real-life encounter, there may not be enough time to use the sights, and having a very good point-and-shoot interface in the hand can be a lifesaver. I do want to highlight one great aspect about the magazines. They come with a little tab you can push down while loading to relieve spring tension. And that makes loading a magazine easier and more enjoyable. The last thing that I need to mention is the ease of using the grip safety, which protrudes from the top of the grip. You must press the top of the lever only about 2/3 of the way toward the frame before it stops. Plus, because it pivots from the bottom rather than from the top, like a traditional 1911 grip safety, it seems easier to deactivate. I did have to make a conscious effort to ensure that I gripped the handle correctly, to ensure that the grip safety disengaged. The Smith & Wesson M&P Shield EZ380 seems, to me, to be a tad large for pants pocket carry, unless you hide that pocket with a shirt worn outside of the pants, which some might opt to do. Some may want to carry at the appendix position. If I were to do this, I would opt for the thumb safety version, but that's just me. Since this EZ is a range rental, I can't experiment with various holsters, so the best that I can offer is to do your research to find a holster that fits your carry needs. I did not think that I would like the EZ, but I do, and I believe that it would be a good go-to personal defense companion for one who prefers a small, light, trustworthy firearm. As I stated at the beginning of this review, 380 ACP cartridge should not be taken lightly. Recent advancements with this cartridge encourage those with weak hand strength or limited hand motion to consider this cartridge that, in some instances, outperforms the 38 Special, and with less muzzle blast and felt recoil. I believe that the Smith & Wesson M&P Shield EZ M2.0 and 380 is up to the task of stopping a threat, which is all we can ask of any pistol caliber. You see, the last time I checked, no bad guy would be willing to stand up and be shot by one. In fact, they are pretty cowardly when the tables are turned on them by someone who knows how to handle a firearm. I think that the Smith & Wesson M&P Shield EZ M2.0 and 380 might just be a wise choice. The quality is there, the reliability is there, the accuracy is there. As I think I stated, my choice would be the thumb safety version over the non-thumb safety version. EZ may be a double-action semi-automatic. It does have a pretty close to single-action trigger, and even with a grip safety, I do prefer a thumb safety. The choice is yours to make, of course. With that, it's time to close this chapter of the Range Ronin Chronicles, and I close with the hope that you will return to my channel to view my other reviews. So my friends, stay vigilant, stay armed, and stay safe out there.